Hello guys, it's FK. So this page, this Notion page, has kind of given away what we want to do in this video. So if you look at this text, it says I just added this paragraph using the Notion API. Yeah, I didn't type this text in myself. I put this text on this page using the Notion API, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to get started with the Notion API. I tried it out, it's pretty cool, and I want you to see all the amazing things you can do with it. So we're just going to be doing a simple demo where we'll write into this Notion page, or yeah, no, we're going to be creating a new Notion page. Yeah, we're going to create a new Notion page and we're going to write into it all from code. We're not going to be doing we're not going to be writing the text in Notion. So to begin, we first need to create a Notion integration. But before we do that, this is a page I practiced with. So I'm just going to create a new page, create an entirely new page. So I'm going to go to my sidebar here and click on new page. And I'm going to say integration test 2. You will see why I'm calling it integration much later. So integration test 2, yeah, so this page is empty. It just has a title and it's empty. And we're going to be writing this into this page using the Notion API. We're going to be writing into this page programmatically. And how do we do that? The first thing we need to do is create something called an integration. Notion integration. That's how you integrate with the Notion API. That's how you go through the Notion API through your code to speak to your Notion account. And to do that, you have to be the owner of this account. You have to be the owner of this account or get permission from the owner of this account. So I'm already on my own account, so I'm just going to go to notion.so or notion.com /my-integrations. That's where you create a new integration. So notion.so /my-integrations, and as you can see, I already have one integration here, test integration 1, and here you can just see all your integrations. You can just see all your integrations here. So we have two types of integrations. You can create an internal one that's just to be used by you or your team, and you can create a public one. That's an integration that you want to be public, something that you want anybody to be able to install or add into their Notion account and be able to use. So we're going to be starting by creating an internal one. Every integration starts as an internal integration. You set it public later. So every integration is by default an internal integration. So let's start by clicking the new integration button. And here, it's internal by default. But like I said, you can later set it to public. This is in my workspace. And I'm just going to call this test integration 2. Test integration 2. That's the name of our integration. You can call this anything you want. For example, there's a Slack integration, there's a Zapier integration. So you can just give it the name. Probably you're creating an integration for your product. You can give it the name of your product, or you can just describe it with a cool name or with a name describing what it does. You can also add a very cool logo, because you might want to put this public and you might want it in the marketplace, or you just want some sort of symbolic way for your team members to recognize this integration, so you can add a logo. For this, I'm not going to be adding a logo. We're not doing anything that fancy now. And I'm going to click submit. So now we've submitted it and we have test integration 2, meaning that we have set up everything that we need to connect from code to this Notion account by defining it as an integration. And it takes us to the secrets page, but you can go to the basic information page. That's where you can come and change the name or add a logo if you change your mind. And the secrets page is where we get our integration secret. Yeah, this is where we get our integration secret. This is going to be used. We're going to be using this in code much later. You can refresh it. Probably it's compromised. You can refresh it, or you just want to, for security purposes, you want to refresh it on a shadow. So you can do that. Also, there's a way to set permissions. There's a capabilities side where you click on capabilities. And currently, we can read content. We can update content. We can insert content. We can't read comments because we didn't check that. We can insert comments. And for now, this integration will not be able to get any user information, but we can equally set it to get user information, but not the email, or user information including the email. But for now, no information, so we're cool with that. We just want to write into a page. And by the way, you can't just write into a page or update what you write into a page. You can also create a new page. I think you can create a new workspace or something. Yeah, it's so amazing. And for the distribution section, that's where you can set it to public. This is internal right now, but I can easily just hit this toggle button and it becomes live. Hello world. So so we have the basic information. The only thing we need here is the secrets, and we're going to be coming for that later. We have our integration set now. Now, what do we do next? The next thing is to make sure that we add this integration to the pages that it's going to be affecting in our Notion account. So this integration doesn't just apply to everything on our account. We have to actually enable it. You have to enable it. So to do that, come to this ellipsis here at the top right corner. There's a right, top right corner, and you can scroll down and you see this add connections link. Add connections, and you can just search for your connection here. You can search for your connection. It's much better because it's going to show you a bunch of connections, a bunch of public connections. Like we have this burden, we have sensors, marker.io, pipe dream. I heard of pipe dream last week. I think it's an automation tool or something like that. And you see here is my test integration 1. Let me see if I can search for test integration 2. So now I'm only seeing test integration 1, and you might wonder why. You can also type something like int. No, we can't see our integration. So when you see this type of thing, you probably need to refresh your page. We created the page, then we created the integration. So you probably need to refresh your page. So we do a hard refresh. And let's go back. Scroll down to add connections. And now let's search int. So now we have test integration 2. So it might just be a refresh thing if you cannot find your integration here. So I'm going to enable that. So it's going to tell me to confirm and tell me that it will have access to this page and all its child pages. So note that it's going to have access to this page and all its child pages. So I want to do that, sure. So I confirm. So now, if you look at this connections area, you can see test integration 2 has been added. And if you hover on it, it will show you all the permissions. Can edit, can read comments, can insert content, can update content, and all that. And you can also disconnect it if you don't want it to no longer apply to the page. So I think that's everything we have to do here. I think so. So now we can start writing our code. Just going to head over to my command line. Here in my command line, I'm going to create a new Node.js project. So we're going to be using JavaScript. I'm going to say make dir Notion API test. Okay, Notion API test. Let's cd into that. And here I can just initialize it as a node project. Get my package.json all up in there. And I have this. I'm cool with it. And that's good. I'm okay with this. So now if I do ls, we now have a package.json. We have a Node.js project. Now you're going to be needing one package. We're going to be needing one package just for this demo. Your project, definitely you probably need a bunch of packages, but for this demo we only need one package, and that will be the Notion client itself, the Notion JavaScript SDK. This is the SDK that Notion has provided for you to interact with the API using JavaScript. Now you can use plain JavaScript, you can use plain XHR requests and add your bearer tokens and all the authorization header and stuff and your payload manually, but why do that when you can just easily do stuff with the Notion approved package? So going to be installing that from npm, and the package is the @notion hq /client. Notion hq /client. So let's install that. So great, our package has installed, our Notion package has installed, and the next thing we'll just do is open this in Visual Studio Code. The code, and open this up in Visual Studio Code. So now that we have our project installed opened up in Visual Studio Code, we can start creating our simple Node.js script. So we have a Notion API test project and our Node modules folder because we just installed the Notion client, and our package.json, which shows that our Notion client has been installed as a dependency. So just close this. Let us create a new file and call it Notion script. Notion script.js. I think that's fair. Notion script.js. So we'll create that. And this is going to be the script that is going to be adding text to our page. The first thing we need to do here is bring in our package. So we say const Notion equals require, and we get the Notion client, Notion HQ /client. get the Notion client package. So that's good. And we're going to set it up by creating a new instance. But first, I'm going to destruct this because I'm just going to be picking out the client class. So I'm just going to pick out the client class. Good. Yeah. So because I would like to name another variable Notion. I would like to name the instance of the client Notion. So we get the client. So next we say const Notion and create a new instance of the client. We say new client, and we're going to pass this client our API key. That's the secret, our API secret, the one that we generated in Notion. And this will go into a hot property. So now that we have done this, let's get our secret. Just going to go back to the Notion account, go to my integrations, go to the secret section and show it. Copy it. I'm going to be deleting this after, definitely. Copy it. Now, definitely, in production, you want to use something like an environment variable for this, but I'm just going to stick it in so you can see everything clearly. Let me wrap this view so that, yeah, okay, that's good. Let's put this to the side. Okay, cool. So we have our new Notion client instance. We have our secret key in there, and now we can do stuff with this Notion client. And what we're going to be doing is adding a we're going to be adding text to this page. Now, to do that, we need to get access to this page. We need to be able to tell our code that we want this page. And to do that, we need to get the page ID. Yeah, the page ID. So how do you get the page ID? The recommended way is to come here, these ellipses, and you can click copy link. And when we click copy link, we can just open a tab, paste the link, which is basically, I don't know whether it's the same thing. I think it's the same thing as this 042E. Yeah. So you pick, there's this 32 digit or 32 character string at the end of the page. So you have integration test 2, then you have this. So there's this 32 character string just before the question mark. So pick that. Like I said, I believe it's the same thing as this. So we just pick that, we copy it, then we go to our code. Now I believe there should be a programmatic way to do this, because after getting this, you also need to split it. You need to split it into, I think, 4 or 5, I think 5 parts. So first, the first 8 characters, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you put a dash here. Then you go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4 again. And you have 12 characters here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So you kind of split it into, you have to split it into a 8, 4, 4, 4, 12 format. So 8 characters, 4 characters, 4 characters, 4 characters, and 12. But I believe I've not really searched, there should be a place in the API for you to just kind of like access this programmatically. But this is something that you can do with JavaScript. You can just pass the page link string and get this and format it to this form. So we get this, and we're going to just cut this and use it. We're going to be using it later. We're going to be using later as our page ID. So now that we have Notion, I want to run it. I want to run my code in a self-invoking function, and it's going to be an asynchronous process. So I'll create an async function. So and just invoke. So let's just do that again. Let's do it again for clarity. So you run a self-invoking function because I want this script to run immediately. This has nothing to do with how you want to use it in your particular application. This can be code that will execute at the endpoint or stuff like that. But I want to run this script and I want the code to run immediately. So I create a self-invoking function. And because the operation I'm going to be performing is async, so we say async, and I create an arrow function to define everything I want to do. Everything I want to do is going to go here. So now that we have that, first let's say const page ID, get page ID, const page ID, and set it to the string we just formatted. That's the 844412 string. Good. So we have const page ID. And the next thing we want to do is to make the call using the Notion client. So I'm just going to say const response equals Notion. But because it's an asynchronous operation, I will need to put an await here. So say Notion dot, we say blocks. Now why are we saying blocks? Because everything on a page, I think including the page itself, is a block. Yeah, everything on a page is block. Everything on Notion, I believe, is a block. A database is a block. A page is a block. The text on a page is a block. The list on a page is a block. So this is a block, and I want to add a child to this block. So I'll say dot children, because the block that we want to reference is the page, and we want to add a paragraph, and a paragraph is amongst the children of the page. So we say dot children dot append, dot children dot append, and we open, and we open this function, and we put in as an argument the object that will define what we want to append. So Notion dot blocks, because everything on Notion is a block, and this particular block that we want to work on is the page. So we want to add a paragraph to the page. That means we want to add a child to that page, and we call the append function because we want to add it to the page. We don't want to just swap the whole page. We don't want to clear the whole page and add this one thing. We want to append it to it. So what do we want to append? First thing we need to do is first tell Notion which block we're referencing. So we say block ID, and block ID is going to be our page ID. Yeah, because that's the parent block that we're calling this function on. So page ID, which is what we have here, the string. And the next thing is going to be those children we want to add, which is just a text. We just want to add one text. So children, and as you can guess, this will be an array because you can add more than one thing. You can add a paragraph, a list, a database, but we just want to add one child, which is just rich text, or a paragraph rather. So we want to add a paragraph, and we open the object definition for a paragraph. And the first thing we state is that the type is paragraph. The type is paragraph, and with that defined, we need to also define what the paragraph is all about. And to define a paragraph, you need to define a rich text property. Rich text because this is not just plain text. This can contain like hyperlinks, it can contain all sorts of fancy stuff. So I guess that's why they give the name rich text. So you have to define the rich text elements that are going to be in this paragraph. So rich text, and the first thing we're going to be putting in this block of rich text is text. Yeah, just want to write stuff in here, and we define the text again. There's just so many things to define. Notion is really thorough with the detailing of this API, because a very complex application like Notion that just gives you a blank canvas to create anything you want. Yeah, definitely a lot of configuration is involved. So we have text, and what will be the content of this text? That's the most important property. What's the content of the text? And we just want to say we just added this cool text with the Notion API. Yeah, this is the most important property in this text definition. So yeah, so that's defined. Let's go through it again. So we got our page ID because our page is the parent block that we want to act on. So once we have that, we then call the Notion SDK. We use the Notion SDK, and we call the blocks property, or I believe probably this is a class, blocks property, and the children, because we want to add something into our page. So what we're adding is a child of the page. So we call it children, and we say dot append because we want to add this to all the other children that are already on the page. So we have this object that defines what the append function is expecting. And first is the block ID, like which block are we acting on? It's a page, and we give it the page ID. What are the children that we want to append? We can append more than one child rather. That's why this is an array. And inside the array, we define the paragraph. The paragraph can be defined with rich text because, so many things can be inside the text. There can be links, there can be, some text can even have emojis and stuff like that. So we want a text, and yep, and that text has a content that says we just added this cool text with the Notion API. Cool. So just for good measure, we can log our response. Can just say am I logging it in the right place? Yeah, I believe so. Okay, console.log response, and I believe that should take care of everything. Yeah, because this is a self-invoking function, so if I run this Node.js script, it's just supposed to run this function immediately. Okay, time for the test. Back here, now we're going to say node. Let me clear this first so that we can see things clearly. Let's clear the screen. And now let's say node Notion script. Yeah, node Notion script. If we hit enter and it pauses, then everything is good. If it spits out an error, then we have to go and check what the error is. So I'm just going to click enter, and yeah, nothing. So it's good. Oh, error. So I'm getting this error, which is almost what always happens when you're trying to show your cool demo to your friends. And I kind of think because it's a type error, I think it's probably because I'm still on node. Let me do node version, node 16 or something. Node -v, yeah, 16. So I'm just going to please the node JS gods by not being too fancy here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut out this async function. So cut out this async function and put it out here. I'm going to declare it as a normal function. Just going to call it add page content. Yeah, remove the arrow. We don't need that. Async. Okay. I'm just going to put this here. Put this down here. So I have a function add page content, and yeah, I need to add a function keyword. Okay, so just like a regular function declaration. So async add page content, and I'm just going to copy add page content and come down here and call the function like a good boy. Yeah. So but I believe you're using node 18 and stuff like that, you can just run it the way I did it the previous time. So I'm going to save this. Now let's go back. Let's clear this screen, and once again let's run node Notion script. Yeah, node Notion script. Once again, hopefully no errors this time. Go to the Notion API and bam, yep. Now we have our response. Comes with a whole lot of details. Object list, results, block ID. I think this should be the ID of the text that we just created. Created by, last edited, and all that. All those object information that you can get. Request ID and all that. I think this should be good for some idempotency stuff, so that you don't add a block of text twice. So yeah. Now, yeah, this is all good. We are saying all green is cool from the API, but let's go to our page. Let's go to our page. And now, yeah, we just added this cool text with Notion API. Yep, this just landed on our page. I'm going to remove this so that, yeah, for some doubt intervals out there. I'm going to remove this in real time. Go back to the script. Let's run it again. Wait for the response. Dun, 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 bam, we get a good response. And now let's go back to the page, and we have it here again. Yeah, we just added this cool text with Notion API. How awesome is that? So that's like getting started to Notion API. Now, if you want me to do more videos on Notion API, please indicate in the comment section. Yeah, if you love what you're saying and you want to do a lot with Notion, you want to create integrations with Notion. For example, there's this I think developer.notion.com where you can see all integrations. So you want to make commercial integrations, you even want to sell some of them and stuff like that. I believe that they have a market for that where you can even sell your integrations. Let's see, guys. Let me see, Notion integrations. So if you're interested in more tutorials on Notion API, yeah, we can do that together. I will create more videos on this. how to add pages, how to add databases, how to create a whole template from code and stuff like that. Pretty awesome stuff. And you can create a lot of helpful tools like this one for Polymer, this one for Splunk. There's also one for Box, Asana, Calendly is here, Canva is not left out, and so many wonderful integrations that you can create. If you know that you or your clients use Notion a lot and they will love an integration that would help their work be faster, that will improve their experience with your application or with any tool that you put out there, this is just awesome. Having access to this API is just a really powerful opportunity for developers or product designers. So yeah, that's everything with your getting started with Notion API. And like I said, if you want more tutorials on this, let me know in the comment section. See you in another video and stay safe.